Welcome to Forest of Reading. This is a book talk for Sliver Birch for students in grades 3 through 6. Which book will catch your eye? This book is called Butt Sandwich a Tree, written by Wesley King. 11-year-old Green loves his devoted brother, Cedar, a popular basketball star, but that doesn't mean he wants to follow in his footsteps. He doesn't really care about sports or making friends. Still, eventually Green caves to pressure to try out for the basketball team. He may be tall like Cedar, but he's nowhere near as skilled. And when a confrontation with the coach spurs Green to flee the court, his flight coincides with a priceless necklace going missing, making him the #1 suspect. To clear Green's name, the two brothers team up to find the necklace, and along the way, they learn to appreciate their differences and the things that bring them together. Forever Birchwood, written by Danielle Daniel. Adventurous, trailblazing wolf lives in a northern mining town and spends her days exploring the mountains and wilderness with her 3 best friends, Penny, Anne, and Brandy. The girl's secret refuge is their treehouse hideaway, Birchwood, Wolf's favorite place on earth. When her beloved grandmother tells her that she is the great-granddaughter of a tree talker, Wolf knows that she is destined to protect the birch trees and wildlife that surround her. But Wolf's mother doesn't understand this connection at all. Not only is she reluctant to engage with their family's indigenous roots, she seems suspiciously on the wrong side of the environmental protection efforts in their hometown. To make matters worse, she's just started dating an annoying new boyfriend named Roger, whose motives and construction company seems equally suspect. As summer arrives, so do bigger problems. Wolf and her friends discover orange plastic bands wrapped around the trees near their cherished hangout spot, and their once stable friendship seems on the verge of unraveling. Birchwood has given them so much. Can they even stay together long enough to save this special place? Living with Viola. This is a graphic novel written and illustrated by Rosina Fung. Livy is already having trouble fitting in as the new girl at school. And then there's Viola. Viola is Livy's anxiety brought to life, a shadowy twin that only Livy can see or hear. Livy tries to push back against Viola's relentless judgment, but nothing seems to work until she strikes up new friendships at school. Livy hopes that Viola's days are numbered, but when tensions arise both at home and at school, Viola rears her head stronger than ever. Only when Livy learns how to ask for help and face her anxiety does she finally figure out living with Viola. Miranda and the Legend of the Lake, written by Megan Mahoney. 11-year-old Miranda thought her life was complicated enough with physical challenges. She uses crutches to walk, and her helicopter parents. But when her great-uncle Mark dies, Miranda and her family visit Cape Breton, Nova Scotia, where her parents grew up and where she hasn't been since the age of 3. Soon, secrets begin to unfold. Why does a newspaper headline say her great-uncle Mark's death was suspicious? Why do strangers keep calling Miranda Miracle Baby? Why does her usually calm mother seem so panicky and scared? And what on earth does all this have to do with mermaids? Miranda and her new friend Claire decide to investigate on their own. But as Miranda begins to separate fact from fiction, she finds herself in very real danger. Sneaks, written by Catherine Egan. When Ben Harp sees his teacher's watch crawling across the hallway, he thinks he must be dreaming, but no, he's just seen his first sneak, an interdimensional mischief maker that can borrow the form of any ordinary object. He figures this school year would be bad. His best friend moved away, the class bully is circling, and he's stuck doing a group project with 2 similarly friendless girls, Charlotte and Acme. Still, he wasn't expecting aliens, and he certainly wasn't expecting that the woman he and Charlotte and Acme are assigned to interview for their living local history project would be a sneak expert, or that she'd foist an old book on them to keep safe and then disappear. Now Ben, Charlotte, and Acme are trying to understand a book that seems to contain a coded map while being pursued by violent clothes hangers, fire-spitting squirrels, and more. The sneaks want that book, and they want something else too, to pull a vastly more dangerous creature into the world with them. Can 3 misfit kids decode the book in time to stop an alien takeover? And if they do, will they get extra credit on their group project? Stealing Home, another graphic novel, written by Jay Torres and illustrated by David Namisato. A gripping graphic novel that tells a boy's experience in a World War II Japanese internment camp and the lessons that baseball teaches him. Sandy Saito is a happy boy who's obsessed with baseball, especially a shy team, the pride of his Japanese-Canadian community. But when the Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor, his life, like that of every North American Japanese descent, changes forever. Forced to move to a remote internment camp, he and his family cope as best they can. And though life at the camp is difficult, Sandy finds solace in baseball, where there's always the promise of possibilities. Through his experience, Sandy comes to realize that life is a lot like basketball. It's about dealing with whatever is thrown at you, however you can, and it's about finding your way home. The Stone Child, the Misawa Saga, Book 3. After discovering a near lifeless Eli at the base of the great tree, Morgan knows she doesn't have much time to save him, and it will mean asking for help from friends old and new. Racing against the clock, and with Eric and Emily at her side, Morgan sets off to follow the trail away from the great tree to find Eli's soul before it's too late. As they journey deep into the northern woods, a place they've been warned never to enter, they face new challenges and life-threatening attacks from strange and horrifying creatures. But a surprise ally comes to their aid, and Morgan finds the strength to focus on what's most important, saving her brother's life. This book was written by David A. Robertson. Swim Team, another graphic novel written and illustrated by Johnny Christmas. Bree can't wait for her first day at her new middle school, Enith Brigitta, home to the Mighty Manatees, until she's stuck with the only elective that fits her schedule, the dreaded Swim 101. The thought of swimming makes Bree more than a little queasy, yet she's forced to dive headfirst into one of her greatest fears. Lucky for her, Etta, an elderly occupant of her apartment building and former swim team captain, is willing to help. With Etta's training and a lot of hard work, Bree suddenly finds her swim-crazed community counting on her to turn the school's failing team around. But that's easier said than done, especially when their rival, the prestigious Holyoke Prep, has everything they need to leave the Mighty Manatees in their wake. Can Bree defy the odds and guide her team to a state championship, or have the Manatees swum their last lap for good? The Undercover Book List, written by Colleen Nelson. He's known as the class troublemaker. She's known as the bookworm. But when every note they send is anonymous, identity is suddenly what they make it. Between her father's posting overseas and her best friend Sienna's move to the other side of the country, 7th grade is looking lonely for Jane McDonald. But Sienna has left her with one last trick, a hidden message in a library book. The perfect plot to start a secret club and find Jane a new book-loving friend. Tyson Flamond has problems of his own. Since the 4th grade, he's had a reputation as a bad kid, and there's no point fighting it when teachers always think the worst. So when he finds an anonymous note in the library looking for a nerdy new friend, he knows he's the last person in the world it could be meant for. But something makes him answer it anyway, and Tyson finds himself pulled into a secret book club where being hidden may be the first step to truly being seen. Zachary Ying and the Dragon Emperor, written by Shirin J. Zhao. Zachary Ying never had many opportunities to learn about his Chinese heritage. Single mom was busy enough making sure they got by, and his schools never taught anything except Western history and myths. So Zach is woefully unprepared when he discovers he was born to host the spirit of the first emperor of China for a vital mission, sealing the leaking portal to the Chinese underworld before the upcoming Ghost Month blows it wide open. The mission takes an immediate wrong turn when the first emperor botches his attempt to possess Zach's body and binds to Zach's AR gaming headset instead, leading to a battle where Zach's mom's soul gets taken by demons. Now, with one of history's most infamous tyrants yapping in his headset, Zach must journey across China to heist magical artifacts and defeat figures from history and myth, all while learning to wield the Emperor's incredible water dragon powers. And if Zach can't finish the mission in time, the spirits of the underworld will flood into the mortal realm, and he could lose his mom forever. Read as many books from the list as you can, but the goal is to read all 10. Sign books out from the list found on the forest shelf. When you finish a book, come and get your passport stamped. Qualifying students will be invited to join the Forest of Reading celebration downtown in the spring. If you have any questions, ask Mrs. Maxwell. Hope to see you soon.